My friends and I were talking about a local fruit the other day, one that was only found in some parts of our home country, India. And I couldn't quite understand what they were talking about, despite their efforts of trying to verbally describe its form and texture precisely, but to no avail. And then one of them reached out for her phone and Googled it. Me, wondering why she didn't think of that before, finally comprehended. We often resort to visual explanations when we're at a loss for words, and similarly resort to verbal or textual explanation when the visuals are too overwhelming. But either way, they're both a language, and some people understand one better than the other. And on the Tuesday that followed that incident, we had a talk by Richard van der Laken, who is the founder of the annual design conference called What Design Can Do. And he gave us a talk about research broadly, but initially started with a focus on image making, which is something that I'm quite interested in and I find myself experimenting every now and then. But what I really liked was that with every image that popped up on my laptop screen, there was a different reaction I had every time. Perplexity, realization, happiness, surprise, confusion. And I began to understand how images have the power and can be used to tell a story in the quickest possible way. We, as image makers, have this tool that enables us to make sense of the world around us and help others make sense of it too. And we, as graphic designers, have a certain responsibility to use these tools and our skills to understand and comprehend and produce visual language in the most effective way to share stories and build narratives that are easy to understand yet have a lasting impact on the viewer. And this idea can be linked to my self-initiated project. With our aim of designing a social media campaign, we knew that we needed to make use of strong imagery to get our message across. Our group, comprising mainly of illustrators, was a perfect coincidence for us to make that happen. And during the course of this project, we were on the quest to create a visual atmosphere that was welcoming and at the same time informative and firmly spoke our truth. This entire use and idea of visual imagery and visual language was then extrapolated to the idea of research, which was the primary topic of discussion of this particular lecture. And commenting and demonstrating examples of how research helps inform design decisions, I realized we engage in research quite unknowingly too. There is no start to an idea without the existence of a previous one. Everything we do, I believe, is an extension, an upgrade, a development, or a change to something that exists in the present. And this is only made evident by the concept of research. And the self-initiated project, in a way, demanded that we make use of primary and secondary research in order to inform our design decisions and help us build an approach to the project in terms of what kind of design tools we need to use or how to target our audience, what kind of visual aesthetic we needed to create, the content of the campaign. And our stages of inquiry were also quite diverse in that we made use of surveys, group discussions, we shared experiences as a group with one another. On the other hand, our secondary research was about collecting references, reading articles, referencing books that gave our project a more contextual edge. And one of the important points that was made during this lecture was the idea of visualizing research and how creatively collating information and data in a very concise, graphic way helps to understand it better, analyze it better, and then apply your research and your findings to the process of your design outcomes.